So now we're going to be working on a bit more tying. He thought maybe there was food on that mat there, so I'm just going to ask him to come over here. I want him to target the rope. You've seen that we've done that really extensively with Atlas. Specifically, he had a huge fear of ropes, specifically from hanging from the fence and moving around. So now we've done all that targeting, lots of desensitizing, lots of counter conditioning. Now he's to the point where he really wants to target it. He really wants to stand next to it. And now I've moved on to just putting that rope through his halter. It is not attached whatsoever. So I've got the snap hanging on the other side of the panel, then it's put up over the panel, and then the end is just put through like his noseband on the bottom. So if he were to back up, this is going to fall right out. So this is going to do a couple things. So it's getting him used to the feeling of tying. Right now I'm just rewarding him for standing there while I just take more and more steps back. But while I do that, he's getting the feel of the rope kind of hanging off of his halter and like looping up over the panel. That was scary for him before, where it was touching his nose. Having that excess rope hang down, and then also having that feel of like being a little bit attached to the panel. So he can, if he moves his head, he's going to feel it a little bit. It'll also pull through the halter, but he's going to feel it a little bit. So it's just prepping him, just another intermediate step. And for Atlas, he needs that. For other horses, they might not. So there I'm asking him to back up so he can feels that rope, and I want to see if he feels it and then comes back. I'll ask him to come forward, touch that rope again, and I'm just reinforcing the whole time. So I ask him to back up on his own so that he can feel that rope and see if he can come forward off of it. So right now, just asking him to back up at the target because that's just a little bit easier, reinforcing him for that. There he comes forward off of that rope. That's what I'm looking for. I want him to follow that rope pressure forward. Just very similarly to what we did when I was training him to lead, was he followed that target and then I added in the rope pressure forward. He had already had a good history with the target, so then he could just transfer it over to the rope pressure. Same thing with tying. So he backs up, and if the rope falls out of his halter, it's not a big deal. I actually would not mind if that happens. See, like it falls out, and see how he was like, meh, whatever. That's a huge deal for this horse. Like that would have scared him so much before. So that is a big, big deal. I know this sounds ridiculous, like we've done a million steps, but for Atlas, that's what was needed. That's what was needed to help him overcome his fear. For Castor, I literally tied him within 2 or 3 sessions. With Dakota, she could tie right away. It was like one session. It depends on the individual horse. Not all horses are going to be like this, but these are the horses you're going to learn the most from. These ones are going to force you to learn new ideas, to break things down, to think outside the box. So I'm definitely grateful for Atlas there. I think he just got confused and he wanted back up. I'm not sure if I was cueing him there, but he was not doing that out of, oh my gosh, I'm afraid. It was, oh, I think that's what I'm supposed to do. And then he comes back and targets it. So that's great. So lots of different pieces here that we're just working on. And then I want to make sure he can feel that rope from both sides. So like if it pulled over his face, if it's touching him on the nostrils, it's not a big deal. I don't want it to be, okay, well, it's always on his left side and he never feels it on the right side. And then when I actually attach it, it scares him. So like we saw in the beginning of the video, I had this rope on his left side and I was backing away and I'm just taking a step back, clicking, feeding, taking 2 steps back, clicking, feeding, and building it up. And I'm right outside of the camera. I'm not leaving completely. So I'm watching him the whole time. And again, he could just walk off and it'll slide out of his halter. It's not a big deal. But I want him to make sure that he's cool with this on his right side as well. So it's touching the right side of his face, it's touching underneath him. Beautiful, backing up. He feels that rope and it's not a big deal. So the whole thing, all the steps, I want really positive. I want him to participate and think that this is just a really awesome game. So that's what we're looking for right here, and I'm really happy with how he's been going. It's just night and day from where he was previously, and there he's targeting on his own and it falls out on his own and he doesn't move at all. So that's a huge, huge, huge deal for this horse. So I'm very proud of where he's been, or where he's come from.
Good boy.